do very well. The thing was with Wesley Snipes is, of course, he went away to prison for tax evasion, and his career, has never recovered from that. Sylvester Stallone went off and brought him in for The Expendables 3.
Which I have yet to see.
And I really feel like I should go back and see it. Unfortunately, as is the way with a lot of third movies and trilogies, that movie fell on its face. And so Wesley Snipes' career did not, get revived whatsoever with that movie. Nor did Mel Gibson, who I honestly feel he's been punished long enough for, the comments he made when he was drunk.
I do agree with your statement on that. The problem being is you don't try to restart your career on a movie that's called The Expendables. Well, this is basically about a bunch of washed up people trying to get together and do something.
It's a cornucopia of some of the greatest action heroes from the 1980s and 1990s, all put together in one movie. But honestly, I wouldn't be really bothered if they brought Wesley Snipes back as Blade. I think it would be really interesting to see Blade a little bit older, a little bit wiser, in some fashion within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I do like the idea, but at the same point, when you look at what Marvel's already working on, especially with their whole superhero lineup, do they really have the time and energy to focus on yet another Blade?
You know what? Honestly, they need to do something because, after they go through the Infinity Gauntlet, movies that are going to finish up Act 3 of their, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's going to leave room for them to be, to do other things, because a lot of the actors that have been working on the movies up to now, their contracts are going to expire after, Infinity Wars, and so they need to go off and try to develop other movies from the properties that they own.
And I do agree. The problem being is, the big question is, how long is that going to take? What exactly, do they have planned? And can it remotely stand up to any of these movies that they have been putting out within the last, 10 years and up to Infinity Wars?
You know what? I think it's possible if you get the right writers for it. And I think that is the key here. That, while they're in the talk about doing this movie, they shouldn't do it unless they have the right script. And whether, Wesley Snipes fits in there or they're going to go off and bring in another actor. I know that Wesley Snipes, before he ended up going to jail, he was really trying to get Black Panther to the big screen. Black Panther is going to be coming to the big screen, leading up to Infinity Wars.
Yeah, definitely is. And I do agree with your theory on the writers. As I said earlier, with when we were talking about our C4 and, a lot of the writers showing up, the writers is pretty much the heart and soul of any movie. Without a proper writer, you do not have a movie. Acting cannot, do a fantastic golden job for a storyline that falls flat.
Absolutely. And the one thing that we can go off and we can say about, Marvel's movies, going all the way back from Iron Man, is they've been consistently pretty good, as opposed to, the movies that we've been seeing that Sony and Universal Studios have been, and 20th Century Fox have all went off. They've tried to do with the same properties.
Yeah, see, the interesting problem with that, though, is, yes, Marvel has, pretty decent writers at this point, but how long can they keep it up before the writing finally falls apart?
And that's a good question. I think now, we brought this up several weeks ago about how the movie studios and the television studios for Marvel have been kind of separated, and now the movies are now under Walt Disney, whereas Marvel still has a lot of control for the TV series. And so I think a lot of the people who felt that they were being held down while writing for the movies are going to find a lot more creative freedom now now that they are more accessible to Disney as to Marvel.
Yeah, but see, as a great one said, with great great power comes great responsibility. And that's what the writers are going to find. Like, yes, they have the more freedom, but, they're held to different standards now. You can't have lackluster storylines. It's either great 5-star storylines or you're looking for your next meal.
Exactly. But at the same time, it doesn't matter how good the writing is. If you're not, going to be given the creative freedom you need to go off and do it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so, again, going back to Wesley Snipes, if they can go off and find a way to bring him back in as Blade and do it effectively well, I'm all for it. Otherwise, Wesley, sorry, move on, find something else. Maybe bring in another actor, to play Blade. Who knows? Maybe go off and just bring Blade in and have him as a regular character on some of the shows that they're trying to do on, like Netflix or even.
Yeah. I would like to see a Blade TV series done with Wesley Snipes, on, say, with Netflix and that, as a special little thing. I don't know if I would go see a Blade movie. Maybe a Blade TV show with Wesley Snipes is what we need.
Honestly, I don't know. It probably would bruise his ego a little bit, but maybe even go off and to do some sort of show or movie with the new Blade and have him kind of, I don't know, sort of do what Arnold Schwarzenegger did with The Rock in The Rundown, where he just kind of passes him and says good luck, and as a way as passing the torch.
Okay, this is a man who went to jail. A millionaire, basically a millionaire actor who went to jail for tax evasion, who has seen his career fizzle to the point of pop rockets. I don't think he has much of an ego left.
Oh, who knows? Maybe he got humbled in prison. I definitely remember some of his interviews, beforehand, and how it was infamous. Samuel L. Jackson, I believe it was, did a movie version of Shaft, and it tanked, and Wesley Snipes went off and says, hey, I'm a friend of Sam's, but you know what? That movie would have been a success if I had, played Shaft.
Yeah,
so it's...
I honestly do believe that, a lot of these whole things that he's saying lately about, the Blade, how he wants to play Blade, how he thinks he can play Blade still. This is what he's doing is like a forgotten child trying to remind people he's still there.
Yeah, you could be right on this.
It's a really sad thing, and I have a lot of respect for the man. I really do. He was phenomenal Blade. He is a phenomenal actor, but he needs to realize his time has come and his time has gone. It is time to pass the torch to younger actors and accept that, you're not as great as you used to be. You're not as popular as you used to be. And he needs to just accept that.
Yeah, quite possible. I don't know. I guess only the future will tell where we go from here with this character.
I don't have a lot of love for actors who think they're entitled to everything.
You don't feel, you don't have much love for anyone who feels entitled.
That is true. But I think things are worked for, and if you have ruined the trust of Hollywood, and especially the fans who pay to see your movies, then you need to move on. You can't rely on something that's not there.
Absolutely, man. Okay, I was going to go off, and I guess we won't have a lot of time to really talk about it. But there's an interesting fan theory that recently came up. If you want to learn more about it, I encourage you guys go check out the Nerdist's website. They have more on this. There's rumor that maybe Darth Vader might be coming back. That Kylo Ren, the character in that we've seen in glimpses of in the trailer for The Force Awakens, he's kind of patterned his whole uniform and helmet and everything off Darth Vader. We've seen Darth Vader's helmet in some of the trailers. It's been suggested that maybe Kylo Ren has been collecting stuff because they're trying to find a way to clone Darth Vader. And there's even been a rumor that Hayden Christensen may have actually been brought in to play Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, for this movie. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I mean, maybe that's the reason why J.J. Abrams has worked so hard to keep everything under lock and key as far as the story is going.
Which is phenomenal, and I'm actually, as a huge Star Wars fan, both of us are, I am excited the fact that he's keeping it so close to, heart, close to chest of what actually is happening, because I love surprises. I love not knowing what's going to happen, and having a brand new Star Wars film, and, this is like, Christmas morning all over again.
Literally, I mean, considering that the movie comes out in the Christmas season, it really is going to seem like Christmas.
Yeah, a whole brand new Star Wars, brand new characters, brand new storyline, brand new company now owning it, new director. It's honestly, it's a whole new package, and you don't know what you're going to get. I commend them all for keeping it so, tight-wrapped. It's very hard to do with such a phenomenal fan base as Star Wars has. So good on them. Kind of sucks, but it's kind of exciting too.
I think it's an interesting theory. There's part of me that's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then there's part of me that thinks, oh God, please don't do this. And not because, the idea of, bringing Darth Vader back isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I feel the way that he was redeemed at the end of, Return of the Jedi, bringing him back would seem kind of, somehow a waste. And at the same time, I feel like they should be trying to build the villains that they have now instead of trying to go back and to revive the villains that they once had.
They're trying to cater to the fans of the past, and they need to realize the fans of the past and the fans of the present are going to be there for Star Wars no matter whether or not, Darth Vader is there.
And absolutely, and you know what, and J.J. Abrams, whether it was through Lost or through the two Star Trek movies he's done, anything that, that I've seen recently that with the production company Bad Robot has been really good. And so I'm really interested to see, this movie. Stuff like this just keeps feeding, my excitement on this, so I'm really looking forward to seeing whether any of this stuff is true.
I agree. There's a lot of fan theories out there for a lot of things. If you know any fan theories, please follow us on Twitter at RealCaptFizz. So at RealCaptainFizz.
You can follow me at ThatMaskGuy. You also can follow the show at FizzMassShow. We're on Instagram, Fizz and Mass Show. And you can find us on YouTube. Just look up the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy Show.
Yeah, so if you have some interesting fan theories out there, and there are tons, send us a message, send us, a tweet.
Hey, you know what? Go up and leave a message on when we eventually get this up on YouTube. Just leave a comment about some of the theories you think about it. It would be great to hear. Again, I just want to bring up again Central Canadian Comic Con C4. You can find them on Facebook, and you can follow them on Twitter at C4 Winnipeg. So you know what? It's time for us to go. Thank you for tuning in and listening to us. And in the meantime, and in between time, good night, God bless, and may the Force be with you.
And as always, stay frosty, my people.
Good night.